Well, hey guys, we are here with our monthly market update. You've got me, local real estate expert Kim Mixon of the Kim Mixon Real Estate Team, and Dustin Steele with Northpointe Bank, our local mortgage expert. He's going to be jumping in here in a few minutes after I go through our October review, looking at how everything closed out in our local market for October. But before we do that, it is November 10th and we are headed into Veterans Day weekend. So want to give a big shout out to all of our veterans, and not just the veterans, but the wives and children, the families, the husbands, the people that serve alongside those veterans, because it's never just the veteran. They have a support network and families that serve right there with them in many ways. So thank you to all of you guys. And hopefully everyone has some nice plans for the weekend. I know here locally, our weather is not looking the best right now, but it's all about how you make the best of it. So hopefully you can find a great way to enjoy this holiday weekend. So let's jump into our October market review and go through how everything closed out in October for Muscogee County, Harris County, Russell County, Lee County. We've got all the counties here in our local area that we cover. So we'll start with Muscogee and Harris County. There were 183 closed sales, and last year for October, there were 221 closed sales. As you know, we're down. Days on the market, the average time on the market for October was about 32 days, and last year was about 30 days. Now, I want to speak real quick about days on the market. That doesn't seem like a big difference, but in reality, what we are actually seeing is homes are staying on the market longer. The reason you're not seeing that in the overall calculation yet is because we have homes on the market, for working up to 180 days, that kind of thing, and they're not closed out yet, so you're not seeing those days averaged in yet. But we are definitely seeing longer times on the market than we have experienced in, probably the last 3 years prior to this. So average sales price for Muscogee and Harris County in October was $244,000, and last October was $245,000. So price point is pretty much on par year to year for October. List to sale price percent, what did it list for? What did it sell for? In Muscogee and Harris County, this is actually really cool. I had to double check this a few times because I thought, this can't be right. This is crazy. For this past October, it was 98.36%, and last October, it was 98.36%. So what are the odds of that? That does not happen often. Okay, let's move forward and look at Russell and Lee County. One thing I forgot on Muscogee and Harris County. There are currently 397 active listings. Last year, this time, there were about 443 active listings. So that is definitely a big difference. Definitely seeing a difference in where our active inventory is, which that's been happening all year long. Pending sales, currently there's about 300 pending sales. This time last year, we had 522 pending sales. Ouch, it's gonna hurt. Like the market, we're definitely feeling the pinch of this down market when it comes to overall closed sales. The good news is values are holding strong, but we are seeing far fewer closings this year than we have in the last few years. So, as a real estate professional, it's not fun. It's not a fun experience, but it's part of how markets ebb and flow. And so we are persevering and looking forward to a much better year next year. All right, let's jump to Russell and Lee County now. In October, there were 53 closed sales. In October of last year, there were approximately 116 closed sales. Again, feeling that pinch, that's a big difference in closed sales from year to year. Days on the market, average days on the market for October was about 45 days. Last year was about 26 days. So you can see for Russell and Lee County, we're starting to kind of feel that difference of time on market as things are closing out and those averages are getting added back in. Average sales price was $312,000. And last year, the average sales price in October was $261,000. So we've seen a big gain in average sales price in Russell and Lee County. So that's exciting. At least if we're going to have fewer closings, we'd like to see that market value, that average price point moving up some. List to sale price percent this past October was 97.64 and last year was 99.74. So you're seeing a little more negotiation happening as well, whether it be on sales price, closing costs, those types of things. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes as well. Active listings in the East Alabama Board of Realtors MLS is approximately 111 active listings. Pending sales, about 77. Last year, active listings this time were 223. So that's about half the inventory we have active right now. Again, ouch. As a real estate professional, that's not where we like to see those numbers go, but it's just a function of the times for the moment. Pending sales currently, again, I said is 77. Last October, there were 198 pending sales. So again, pinch, it's not fun, but we're going to get through this. And my job is not to tell you stuff that is not helpful. It's to tell you what's actually happening in the market in the current moment so that you can make decisions and be educated on where our market is and what's truly happening, not listening to some of the doom and gloom that you hear from national media, things like that. Yes, we are definitely experiencing far fewer sales, but no, we are not seeing values plummeting as a result of that. So as interest rates relax, and we're about to bring in Dustin to talk interest rates, as interest rates relax, we will start to see probably more inventory come to market. And as more inventory comes, there's going to be probably a flurry of some pent-up buyer demand that runs right alongside that. So we're likely to see a much better year next year in 2024 than what 2023 will close out at. So on that note, let's bring in Dustin to talk all things mortgage and interest rates. So, all right, what you got for us? We want good news. Do you have good news?
I have good news.
Okay, all right, let's hear it.
We're better
Finally.
We're better than we were last week.
Okay, there we go.
So, yeah, guys, it's looking a lot better. We have seen interest rates start to kind of on the downward trend. Now, I'm not saying the bottom has fallen out of them, but they are getting better. Since about the 26th of October, we have seen rates gradually fall day after day. Between the last video that I was not lucky enough to be here for and now, we are about at the same spot. So conventional right now is around 7.5%. VA and FHA are right at 7%. You may see some 6.75, 6.99 in that range, but you're more than likely going to find yourself right around 7 for FHA and VA, 7.5 for conventional.
So not 8.
Not 8, but
that's good.
And between last video and now, we did break the 8 mark. On conventional. And you may, depending on the way that you have your loan structured, depending on how many discount points you're paying, if you're paying any at all, if you'd like to not pay any, you may still find yourself near that 8 number on conventional. So, but we are seeing them start to come down a little bit, and a lot of that has to do with unemployment. So the unemployment rate is starting to tick up. I know we've talked about that a little bit over the last, what has it been, about 2 years now? Maybe about,
yeah, it's
about
been a minute.
At least the last
We've been doing
year.
This a while. Yeah.
I know we've spoken about unemployment, and it has started to tick up some. And that's not something we want to see, but it is a pretty key indicator when it comes to what mortgage rates are going to do.
Awesome. Okay, so I've got a question for you about seller paid closing costs. Correct. So on my end, and this is a question I get from a lot of my listing clients, what's happening with that? Because we went for several years where sellers really didn't have to contribute to closing costs to make deals come together. We're in a different market, a different time. So as a listing agent, I'm seeing a lot more negotiation of seller paid closing costs in order to get deals to come together. Not in every case. We still do have some properties that's not the case, but in general, I'm seeing more of it than what we saw over the last 2 or 3 years. What are you seeing? And of course, that's more of my inventory. What do you see in the larger scale market as you're working through closings? Are you seeing a larger participation in seller paid closing costs?
We are. I would say, if there's 10 deals a month, I'd say at least half of them right now that I'm seeing, at least with my own eyes, have some sort of seller paid on them, at least half of them. It's a big obstacle right now for buyers. I mean, I would say, 3-4 years ago, what was maybe an average starter home? Maybe 150, 160, somewhere around there.
Yeah, probably. So we'll say pre-pandemic average starter home in our market was probably somewhere between 160 and 200.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe in the low 200s.
Right. And now we're probably seeing 250-ish maybe for the distance. So when you think about that from the standpoint of that's a starter home, that's the first home they've ever bought. This is maybe early 20s. You never know. Somebody could be in their 30s, 40s buying their first home, but this is, that person is going to have to come up with a down payment and closing costs, and where that used to be normal closing costs, now that person that's buying that starter home with an FHA loan is going to have to come up with something around $20,000 total between their down payment and their closing costs.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, especially for a starter home. Right, it's a ton of money. So that's a big obstacle right now. We are seeing that. I mean, people's savings accounts are just not what they were a year ago. They're not what they were 2 years ago, and that's everything is just more expensive right now. We can't control the price of the home. They are what they are. The rates are what they are. But if there's anything that we can control to make the market a little bit friendlier, keep it moving along, it's sellers helping these buyers through these closing costs. I do get asked several times a month. I'll have an agent call me and say, "Hey, we just got this offer, and these closing costs are $13,000, and the house is $285,000. That just seems absurd. I can't believe that. Does that sound unreasonable?" Yes, it sounds unreasonable, but it is real. That is, those where that used to be 8 to 9, you're seeing 12, 13,000, and that is directly related to the way that interest rates and the cost of them right now, the way they're being priced, from mortgage company to mortgage company. So
as a seller, I guess probably the message from that is right now, anyhow, you may have to kind of build in some negotiability on some closing costs, some flexibility, trying to help participate, especially at certain price points when it comes to like first-time home buyers. If a buyer has sold a home, got that equity, they've got money out of that previous sale to put down on a new home, they're less likely to need as much assistance. But if you're looking at somebody who truly is a first-time home buyer and they don't have the sale of a home that they can pull equity from to pay towards their down payment, closing costs, all of those things, then it can be very hard to come up with that, roughly $20,000 in order to purchase a home. So it's a little bit different mindset from where we were even this time last year when it comes to closing costs. And I know that's, not what people want to hear. But again, I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you the reality of the market. So from a seller perspective, if I could tell you anything right now, I would say just be aware that is more of a factor now than it was in previous years. And you might say, well, I bought my home 3-4 years ago and, the seller didn't pay anything towards closing costs. Yeah, that was a different market, so just keep that in mind. Anything else you think of pertinent informational value in the moment?
Not too much. I think that's probably the key points.
Okay.
All
right. So that is our October wrap up here on November 10th. We will be back in November. We'll be back early November. Usually we try to be in that first week or so to get you the latest market update for how November closed out. And then guess what, guys? After that, our next market review will be the year-end review.
So fun. It goes by so fast. Yeah.
Crazy. So until then, have a fabulous November, a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. We will see you in December with our November market update. And in the meantime, if you've got questions, concerns, just trying to figure out, maybe you're thinking about buying or selling in 2024 and trying to get a game plan together, let us start now to help you with that. It's never too early to start. I have clients that sometimes we work with for 2, 3, 4 years before they're to that point of buying or selling. So don't feel like, hey, I'm not thinking about buying or selling until later next year. It's too soon to talk. It's not. It's definitely not. Let's have those conversations and work on a game plan so that when you are ready, everything's in place. So, all right. Well, thank you, Dustin.
Thanks.
We'll see you guys soon.
See you guys.